So, welcome to today. I'm Christine.
I'm Liz.
And we are Double D-Fense. We're an all-female New York Rangers podcast, bringing you fun conversation about our New York Rangers, the NHL and hockey, and so much more. Thank you for joining us.
Well, hi, Christine.
Well, hello there, marathon runner, finisher. Congratulations again. You survived.
Thank you. I did survive. It's great to be sitting. It's great to be sitting down. Welcome to Double D-Fense. As you guys probably know, we are your all-female New York Rangers and NHL podcast. As the Rangers have not been in the playoffs, we've been focused on other things. Especially over the last couple of weeks. And last Sunday, I did complete my very first marathon, probably my very last marathon, but it was very exciting. I ran the OC Marathon, and Christine was out there supporting me, supporting Double D-Fense. This is one of the signs that she had up, and it was an all-around great experience. And I could talk all day about marathon running, but this is a hockey podcast. So,
well, hey.
If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out. I love talking about this.
Yeah, but we have a lot to talk about. I mean, you think that if we're not in the running and we can just sit back and enjoy, that'll just be a nice peaceful ride of stuff. And then everything happens, And so, including because we were together watching this Jets game on Sunday. Saturday was exciting too. And since we were doing marathon stuff and we're trying to shove a bunch of electrolytes and protein in you in the afternoon, we sat and watched the game. And what a great finish, and what a great kind of theme to what we're seeing in these in the first round of these playoffs heading into the second round. There are these, I think everything's happening in the last 3 minutes, kind of like basketball. That's happening too, by the way. These, with the Knicks. So go Knicks. So I'm seeing similar things there, but let's talk about that.
There's been a lot going on in the playoffs. If you couldn't tell, and if you're only listening to this without visual, I'm wearing my Winnipeg Jets jersey. They are the team that I've been pulling for in the playoffs. If the Rangers can't be in it, I would really prefer to have a West Coast team win. And I've always been a fan of the Jets. Have some good friends up in Winnipeg. Had the good fortune to go to a Winnipeg Jets game in Winnipeg a few years ago. Got this awesome shirt. They've been a fun team to watch. Obviously, Game 7 against St. Louis was wild, and that was the game you're referring to on Sunday night when Winnipeg tied the game with 1.7 seconds left to go. I think that's what was the tying goal, and then went on to win in double overtime.
Right? That it was absolutely insane. I almost got bit by the dog 10 times. As I was jumping around. I couldn't jump around because she was so sore she couldn't move. So I was doing all the crazy jumping around and screaming. And then, of course, the dog doesn't like that. So the dog wakes up and comes out.
My dog does not like happiness and merriment.
But it was so exciting. Look, I think most of us picked, Winnipeg to kind of make it all the way through. So I think that's what we're talking about. It was like, how many brackets are going to be ruined by the fact that they don't win this game? And for that to happen in that fashion was just so exciting. And of course, it's just tied it up. So you don't know what's going to happen. So for them to continue on and win it in overtime was even more exciting. So if you haven't seen it also, there's tons of videos out there that are surfacing on the internet from the Blues side of things, where they're like counting down the time and then all of a sudden they score and they're like, oh no. And this is where you're going to have
I can feel that. I can just feel that pain.
But that's the kind of, this is the beauty of, this is why I like this sport. And where you see the excitement of the fans, that are winning. It's the agony of defeat, of course, and kind of in Highlander reference, which is one of my favorite shows. There can be only one, and so there's going to be a lot of disappointment, and then in only one glory, to the end, and this is what I really do enjoy, and it even as as a non-fan of these teams watching it, there are two teams, Edmonton and and Capitals, just to name the two I hate the most, which I would like to see lose. So I don't like watching them win personally. So that's where I get a little like anxious, and I'm getting a little bit into it. But the other games are really fun to watch because I really feel like I don't have an interest. I just want it to continue, and I like it to be a good game.
Yeah, and one of the things that, and Christine and I have been talking about, and maybe you guys feel the same way, it is fun to watch the playoffs when you don't really have a dog in the race. It makes it a lot less stressful and a lot more relaxed and experience. So, we're all about finding the silver linings and the good things about the Rangers not being in the playoffs this year. So maybe that's one of them.
Yeah, it's part of it. But and also, I mean, it's been the games have been played really well. You got a lot of fights, got a little controversy. Last night, you back to the refs, like getting paid on the table somewhere by someone.
The way that they're calling these games has been bizarre. They're either calling everything or calling absolutely nothing.
I noticed like in the overtime games are really letting things go. And then I didn't realize it because we were so focused on the game. They weren't even going to commercial break or anything in the overtime. So, I think that's fine. I mean, I'm on the fence of like, there's a line between like, let them play and then you have to call something. I literally was jumping into the car last night and from the gym, and as I turned it on, they were talking about a penalty. It was a Panthers game where, and I don't even know who it was, where they called embellishment. Yet he was injured. He went to the locker room, and the guys were like, "Oh, can't even understand that. How do you embellish something when you're actually injured?" And then he didn't come back, and I missed that play. And that's just part of it. I mean, we're kind of seeing that. So, but it's a typical, it's a typical thing. The best part about that was after that call was deliberately crazy, they called a penalty on the Leafs, and then the whole crowd starts yelling, "Ref, you suck." So I'm hearing this a little bit more than I think I would have. I mean, I think the fighting, this is just a more intense series from what I recall in the past. Usually it's like, tell people this is the best time to get involved in hockey because it's good hockey. And this is not a year of that example because there's a lot of fighting, little dirty hits. We got a dirty little elbow to the goalie's neck. You got like, it's dirty, and so, but they're not my team, so I don't care. They can kill each other. It's all good stuff from.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think we're all doing it. We're all doing it for the brackets. And like you said, when Winnipeg was about to lose the day, that was about to kill, I think, almost everyone in the Double D-Fense League's brackets. Thankfully, they held on. So everyone is still doing well.
I think they said after the first round, only 4% of the people who did brackets had theirs intact. And so
I was getting close to wondering if it was a President's Trophy curse that we were about to be looking at. But Winnipeg held on, although they did lose the first game to Dallas yesterday. So
I'm feeling it's going to be another Dallas Oilers, semifinal there with the way that they're playing. But look, you never know. I always say it's like the minute they lose at home, and then I kind of equate it to a game where they're down by a goal. But then at the same time, it doesn't matter. I think the most tense game for me is that that the one that goes to 3. So when you're tied 1-1, and then you go up that one, when you're closer. Like I'm trying to think, it's like that. It's like that third. Whoever wins that third game, I think it's the most stressful one because, it's either a 2-3 or 1-3. I mean, if they're up 3-0, it doesn't matter. But like that's the craziest one because that next game means everything, and I think it's the most tense game for me to watch as a fan for anybody. I think it's just like that now that we're seeing that all these goals are getting scored in the last 3 minutes. I'm finding myself getting anxious. At that 5-minute mark, with things, because these all the games are really close. So it's anybody's game. And even last night, they came so close to scoring. I'm like, I didn't feel like they were going to do it again, but they came so close.
It's been great quality hockey, like you said before. Really, really amazing hockey.
Yeah, and let me point out a couple things I kind of mentioned earlier, that we're seeing a lot of milestones. I almost can't keep up. So, if you're following us on Instagram, I'm doing my best to kind of take some of these really fun points we're seeing to the games, throwing them out there on our story. But look, we got watching Mikko Rantanen. I mean, great guy. Like, this is amazing. I mean, he just scored 2 hat tricks in back-to-back games, becoming the first player in Dallas history to do that in a playoff. He's also the first player in Stanley Cup history to record multiple 3-goal periods in the same season, postseason. So, like, that's crazy. He's on a roll, and he's the one to watch right now for Dallas. So, like, that's been fun. And you've got the Oilers, but we give credit where credit's due, even though they're maybe they're one of the reasons because they have a lot of ice time. Just saying. But Evan Bouchard, second fastest defenseman to in NHL history to record 50 playoff assists and in the postseason. So only second to Bobby Orr. So that's good. Bobby Orr did in 59 games, and Mikko did it in 60. Evan did it in 60. And then and McDavid became the second fastest player for 90 assists in Stanley Cup history. So, and he's only behind Wayne Gretzky. So you got 2 milestones there. The Hurricanes, I love this. The Hurricanes are like right now, they're 100%, 100% record in penalty kill, which is great for them so far. So they're playing a good game. We're going to see them play tonight too. Keep doing it. I'm loving it. And then, of course, the Oilers have also, created another milestone in NHL history, becoming the first team with 5 straight comeback wins. Damn it. So, I mean, are the Knights going to be able to take them on and cut them off and keep a lead? We will never know. That's like what I need the Days of Our Lives tune there, as the world turns, So those are just a few of the things we've seen in the last 3 days, I think. So it's been a really fun and busy week. And along the lines too of like our coach, we had a press conference today, our new coach. So that's revealed. And then breaking news that Quenneville.
Well, I don't think I don't know if Sullivan had been announced the last time we did on the last episode of Double D-Fense. So if we have not already covered it, we do. Maybe it was just being tossed around, but it is now official that Mike Sullivan is the new head coach of the New York Rangers, former Pittsburgh Penguins coach. A lot of experience, former assistant coach of the Rangers, and now is back in official capacity.
Yeah, he's looking, well, I mean, I liked it. I think, again, I knew it would be a quick decision because, everyone was firing their coaches.
Yeah.
So,
I got to say, it seems like quite a big love fest between Jury and Sullivan. Mike Sullivan did his first press conference. I guess that was earlier today, or it was today. And it just felt like a big old love fest, which is, I guess, wonderful. We'll see how long that lasts.
They were fun.
Not an easy job.
There were a lot of fun 80s memes, like, of like Jury on the phone with, with Sullivan the minute he found out he was available. So you knew he was the right pick. You knew it was going to happen. You knew they had to jump on him pretty quick. There's, the rumors are that he's getting a pretty penny. So yeah, we have that, which is fine. Let's see, a couple of notes from today's thing is that, what I do like, again, we are, captainless on the team. And so, there's a quote from him saying, the one takeaway I have from the conversations with the team is I think there's a fair amount of leadership in the room. So, whether you wear a letter or you don't wear a letter, leadership manifests itself in so many different ways. I think there's going to be a lot of character in that room, just based on the initial conversations that I've had with the guys. Chris and I will work through some of these challenges. Maybe the first thing is to keep Chris Drury out of your damn locker room, because I think that's the biggest mistake I think that's happened this last season and cost a good coach his job.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
So Mike, just lock the door, kick him out, lock the door, and tell him to butt out. That's fine. Once he gets the players, chosen for the team, and he's got to be working on that. So he has his other job to be doing right now, so he should be doing it. You take over your job and keep it separate. I feel like that was a lot of stuff, and I kind of was calling it. I'm still pretty much right, which I'm sticking with what I was going with. And then, he also, a quote was on his philosophy with managing young players. He says, it's an individualized process. I don't think you can paint every player with the same brush. Everyone's different. Yes. The art of coaching, I guess, is to try to figure out what that daily recipe is for, that's best for the player. And that's actually a good comment, because it's a day-to-day process. Because, who you're playing today and who you're playing tomorrow is a whole different recipe. I like that word, I guess. And then he added, it's important that every player earns their opportunities and that that no one's entitled to an opportunity. So he's kind of going back, into some of the earlier coaching things, where it's like more like that college approach, I call it. So
it seems like quite the opposite of Laviolette, who was really giving people who didn't deserve an opportunity. So I like that. I feel like that's already a good step in the right direction. But I guess time will tell. Is one thing to say it in a press conference. It's another thing to put it into practice once the season begins.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, again, you can say that. And again, the other thing, again, I kind of stick with it. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Is if it, my chair just fell over. I don't know why. Is that I just feel like Drury had his hand in the pot a lot more than he should have, and it inhibited, a lot of that to do, the things that he could do to the best of his ability, and I think, and those are things that were behind closed doors in the locker room that we didn't know about, and I think that's more why we saw the frustration of the players coming out. I think if it was just with the coach, it wouldn't be like that. So, there's more to the story. And if this might be a good thing, if Drury has faith in Sullivan because they're buds, that he's just going to do it. And then maybe he leaves them alone more. And then we're going to see the productivity being better and where we want it to be. And so the next thing is we're still waiting. So draft picks also happen this week too. I mean, there's so much. We're just keeping track of everything. So the Islanders amazingly got the first one with their 3% chance. Conveniently after Batman, pulled the idea of hosting, the All-Star Weekend at UBS Arena for a different idea, and then getting scolded, by New York's mayor and as a governor or mayor and the governor and then all of a sudden they're first place. So it is what Shocking. It is. Yeah. I know. nothing surprises me anymore with things. And I saw a lot of comments similar to what I had said, when I saw it first. So, you know, not, it's something you have to deal with now. We got 12th. So now now I feel now that everyone's got their cards in the hands and their trade picks, willing to deal, we'll start seeing, what, like I feel like we're start seeing some trading and some deals being made more. So, I mean, right now the only thing we saw was an extension for a year of Parsonen. So is it 1 year or 1 or 2 years? So that's our only big announcement besides Sullivan in the last 2 weeks. And again, as I started to tag on
I mean, maybe
it'll take a while.
Maybe it'll take a little bit of time before they start announcing the other any other changes that are happening.
I would think that they would start inking, and they're going to start inking the lower deals, because they're going to have to negotiate and make room for the bigger deals to stay within the cap. But I would think that, with so many, open opportunities, I just think we would start inking things more, just to start solidifying stuff. Again, part of it too is, when you're up in the air and you don't know what's happening with your career, how focused are you going to be going in, to stuff? I know they're kind of all on vacation now, but still it's stressful. So, I think it's in the best interest of, of Drury, in Dolan to kind of get these things done fast. So we also, we're going to have the draft coming up in the summer, which we're going to do our best to, attend, so we're looking into that, and we'll see, what deals go down by then, and then what deals are negotiated with the draft too. So, a fun little summer still ahead of us while we're waiting for some of these teams to play out the Stanley Cup and drop like flies. It's going to go faster. I loved it. Last weekend we had, like the weekend before, like the marathon weekend, we had 2 full days of hockey. I mean, it was beautiful.
So many games to watch. It was like one after the other after the other.
It was beautiful. I just stayed home and just enjoyed it. It was like 12 hours every day of hockey, and I was not disappointed in any of those games. It was so good. And this is where it starts to get sad for me too, because we go from like 2 games a day, and then it's one day, and then it's one every other day, and then there's nothing for like a week, and then it all starts up again. So we're kind of adjusting to that. So things are going to start slowing down. So at least these games are fun. And I'm running into people who are like, I'm not really watching it. I'm like, but you should, because it's good stuff. And if you're not invested, it's more entertaining to watch. You can watch other people's misery and other people's excitement. I mean, I'm not sad when I see Caps fans sad. I'm like, I like that actually. So I, any way you can get amused and enjoy is good. Okay. I keep saying Quenneville's, is breaking news that he's just been hired as the Ducks head coach. So one other position has just been filled. Is he the right choice? I don't know. Someone was chatting about it, thinking like there's other choices to go with, but they're trying to build up a brooder team, I think, with the acquisition of like Trouba this last year. So he might be a good coach for them. We should go find out more. Like, again, I'm like, they're only 20 minutes away. I'm like, I should go find out more. Let me go find them. So we'll see. Again, these are still unfolding things, because just because we have a coach doesn't mean it's going to be right for the team or how that team's going to do well, in the next season. The Ducks and Blackhawks have always kind of been at the lower end of everything throughout the entire season. So, they have a lot of work to do to kind of get themselves above the line in the first, 3/4 of the, of all the teams. So we have that. What else? Oh, here's another one. Utah. What do you think about their name?
So they went with the Utah Mammoth. Apparently, this is a little bit controversial because there is I think it's a Colorado Mammoth indoor lacrosse team that is like not particularly happy with this choice. The other controversy I've seen is that a lot of people feel like the logo ripped off the Predators logo, because they're actually quite similar in terms of like.
Great though, right? You're seeing the AI one.
Yeah. And then I did see one comment that I just want to mention because it literally made me laugh out loud. I think at one point, I don't know if this is true or not, but Utah had been considering like the miners, like mining, and somebody said it's really good you didn't go with that, because when they played the Predators, it would sound really bad. The miners against the Predators. But I don't, again, don't know how true that is. It just made me laugh, so I want to mention it.
Wait, there was this one though. Wait, there's another one that said we're just. Did you see this one though? We're one prehistoric animal short of completing the most iconic trio. So you have, the saber tooth, you have like the mammoth, and then of course this is from that movie. That prehistoric like animated movie, and so they were just looking for the sloths, so to kind of fulfill that was pretty funny too. Yeah,
I like the Yeti better than.
I know, I did too. That would have been a fun mascot. It would have been fun.
I don't know if they had like it was an issue clearing the name or what the story was.
Well, this was picked by the fans, supposedly. So, even though we liked it, we're not the fans. So maybe, and it is Utah. So I don't know. I mean,
and it adds one more to, there's always a trivia question about what teams do not end in an S. So they're not the Utah Mammoths. They're just the Mammoth. Does that mean they're a singular mammoth? Is the plural?
What is mammoth plural? I think it's the same.
I'm going to look this up right now. What is mammoth plural?
That's funny.
Let's get into this. What is the plural? Oh, apparently we're not the only people looking this up, because it is the first thing that Google suggested. What is the plural of mammoth?
Mammoth.
Mammoth. It is mammoth.
There's an S.
Mammoths. It could also mean mammoth as in huge. So the plural of mammoth is mammoths, but I guess they're saying that they're the singular mammoth. This is a lot of thinking now. I don't like it.
One mammoth.
I changed my mind. I don't like that.
We'll see how that goes. And props to everybody who bought a Utah Hockey Club jersey.
Okay, so this article.
Yeah.
Here's this article in For the Win says the majority of sports names are plural. However, Utah took the road less traveled by and went with the singular mammoth for their name, not mammoths. And after Wednesday's announcement, some hockey fans were incredibly perplexed at the choice, which seemingly flies in the face of proper grammar. Ooh, interesting.
See, Yetis, plural. So, or maybe it isn't. I don't know now. So, it's Yetis. It would be Yeti. That wouldn't have worked either then. Oh, well, I mean, why not mess kids up for life in one way or another? There's always going to be something. But it's cute. It's cute. It was chosen by the fans. Everybody that invested in the Utah Hockey Club jerseys now have, historical,
vintage
old things in there, and they're going to all have to go. It's kind of like raising a kid playing hockey. We have to go by the jersey. And then if they change, we've had this happen where they've had to change the team name, which made no sense. And then you're going out and having to, purchase, $500 worth of jerseys again. And we were forced to do that. So welcome to the life of a hockey person. We've done it all the time. Your money just goes right down the drain into hockey jerseys. And I've seen some of you people, I've seen your collections. You guys spend a lot of money on those jerseys. And they're with those collections too. I think my child has a good collection now of jerseys. So we have that. Yeah, a lot of things going on. The other thing too is I know Liz is representing the Jets. I am representing the PWHL with my Sirens jersey, even though the Sirens aren't in the playoffs either, So the PWHL has just started their playoff run. They've got 4 teams out of the 6 playing. They are doing in case you did not know, they are doing the best 3 of 5 for the semifinals, and then the final round is also a best 3 of 5 for them. And you have Toronto Scepters, you have the Minnesota Fleet, and you have the Montreal Victoire and the Ottawa Scepters. So these are the 4 teams that are playing, and they're only one game in. I think Toronto won. I think Matthew was saying, like, he wouldn't mind it if Toronto won on both sides. You got Toronto, and Toronto's the one city, where now we've got, both the women and the men are playing, and they're both in it, which is really good. I mean, his thought was if they both won, they'd probably just burn the city down. So then they would never win again.
It would be good for Toronto. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
So I'm constantly, like, my work team is in Toronto, and they're not hockey fans, so I'm just kind of more warning them what's going on for their own safety as they're traveling through the city, in and out of work for stuff. I do get a hint of some hockey fans in our team meeting, so I'll be meeting with them in the morning to see how they're surviving, making sure that they know that both teams are playing in their playoffs. So Toronto right now is still the favorite to win the Stanley Cup. They played well so far. I'm kind of surprised that they're beating Florida. They're up 2-0 at home, so they're going to take it down to Florida for the next game over the weekend or tomorrow. I think they play tomorrow. So
Yeah,
so we'll see how Florida, and that's Florida being dirty as shit. So Florida's, the Leafs are kind of overcoming that and still kind of making it a good game. And so we're seeing the very physical games. I'm like, these teams, like, typically, well, they get, these teams always play physical, but I always say East Coast doesn't really play as physical as West Coast from what, we see during the regular season, and then they just break it all out in the playoffs. So this is probably one of the more physical rounds of, playoff hockey I've seen in a while. And again, I'm loving it all. They all just are beating the crap out of each other. They were giving out misconducts to the games, like, last round. I mean, it was just great. I'm like, yeah, just keep going. I think everyone's surviving. The dives and the elbows and it's all at the net. I mean, you're seeing all this crazy action going in the net. These goalies are taking a beating, and then they're hanging in there pretty hard. So, so good. It's just so good. I love it. Just kick the shit out of all you guys. It's just, I'm enjoying out here. Yeah. Just keep going. So I think that's it for all the other news. Like, I'm trying to think if there's anything. Do we miss anything? I have a question I saw that came up, which I kind of liked and made me think about just a fun little question. That it was like, who was, like, out of all the players that have been traded, which is one person you wish would not have been traded? Like, if you could have them back, who would it be?
Well, I mean, it's hard to answer that because the season's over and we're not.
Well, I'm talking in your lifetime. I mean, I have mine. I'll tell you, mine I think would be Zook, even over. And I was thinking about it. It's a great question because my first thought is Hank. Although Hank went and got traded and never played because he had heart conditions. So if he hadn't been traded, then it would happen to us, right? And at least we got something out of it. But as I think of things, you watch these people excel from other teams and do what they did, but what's one player? I mean, I would say Zuccarello, I think he's a good player. He's still a good teammate. I think he's healthy. He's fun. Everybody, he's still well liked and everything. And I think, he still would have remained an asset to our team if he had stayed there. So for me, it's Zuccarello. I asked Matthew, and he's like, besides Frolov, and he's the player that we talk about who got traded when he was 12. Frolov was traded from the Kings to the Rangers, and then I proudly told Matthew, and he cried on the spot. And then I cried when Henrik was traded. So, but yeah, is there anybody that you think of? Like
Buchnevich, who's playing for St. Louis now.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he's playing really well. I don't know if the Rangers had somebody that I would compare to him, like going down the home stretch of the season. So yeah, I'm not sitting here like longing for Truba to come back, but yeah, somebody like
No,
Buchnevich, I think would be high on my list.
yeah, and I can't even go
And
further.
Zuccarello, I totally agree.
Yeah. It's a good question. I think what I'll do is I'll try to put it out this week to see, if anybody else is in, but we'll kind of circle
Like a
back with that.
poll.
I think it's
Yeah.
a great question to think about. And also it kind of expands your thought process too, because your immediate thought was like this year, and I'm like, no, I'm
Yeah.
talking about like over time, who we recall, we would have kind of wanted back. We had the ability to take them back, would we? And then again, I think most people would be like, Hank, I would never have traded Hank. But at the same time, we had we not, then we would have, had him dealing with that on his own. So at least we got something out of it. Same thing with Rick Nash. I was a big Nash fan. And then, he got traded when he was doing really well, but then he ended up getting a concussion after he was traded to Boston, and then he retired. So we got the better end of the deal. Even poor Zook. I mean, if you remember when he got traded, he I think a week into there, he broke his leg or his arm or something, and so he couldn't play. So there was a little curse or something going on with some of these guys after they got traded. So we see that, and then there was, of course, and again, we see the players are excel, but maybe I see that they excel because of the team that they're on now, and so it's all about chemistry, and I think that's why I miss Zook the most, because he did have a lot of chemistry with everybody. So it's an interesting question. I saw it running through Facebook, and I adored it. So I'll throw it out there to people listening, and then see, and then we'll kind of circle back to see kind of what other names pop up, and to maybe kind of, see why it would make a good, and what kind of team that would have created if we had kept them. That'd be kind of fun.
I love it.
So it's all good. Yay.
Well, on that,
we have one more thing I'm going to throw out to all our listeners before we say goodbye, and I'll let you sign us off. But this weekend's Mother's Day. So to all those people out there, happy Mother's Day to your moms who created you, to you as moms of children, fur babies, and so forth. And if you're not a mom, and treat your mom well, and make sure you wish her happy Mother's Day, for us as well, to all our listeners and our friends and our families. I wish you the best weekend ever. Have a great Mother's Day. And go Jets.
Absolutely. And don't forget and do not forget to wish Christine a very happy Mother's Day as well. Happy Mother's Day, Christine. You deserve all of the good things.
Yay! I know. Yeah, and to the mom,
happy Mother's Day.
Fur baby moms count too. So props to us all.
Definitely.
Go enjoy a margarita, have a beer, watch a fight or two, and have a great time.
Take care, everyone. We'll be with you next week.